I posted this crazy beat I made on SP404 on Instagram, and people really seem to like it. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I made it. Recently I have been watching a lot of MPC videos on YouTube. I own one myself, but to be honest, ever since I got the SPs, I never really use it because I prefer the speed and simplicity of the Roland. But there is one nice sampling technique that a lot of MPC guys use that is different from the usual SP workflow. I will try to explain both and how I adapted the MPC workflow on the SP while making this beat. To start, I'm going to briefly tell you how I sample on the SP usually, and if you want to see the whole process in more detail, then just have a look at some of my older videos because I have shown it already. But me and a lot of other people just sample a longer piece of sample to a pad, then copy that to the next one and use mark button to set the new start point of the next chop. Then repeat the process until you get all the chops you want. It might sound like a lot of work, but in practice it can be actually quite fast, especially if you know exactly where you want your chops to be and if you can't get your head around it. Think of it like doing manual chops on something like the machine, where you let the sample play and you just press the pads to mark your chops. So let me show you on this quick sample. Let's say I have this loop over here, right, and I want to chop it up. Then I will just press function, copy that to the next pad, press record, so that's now copied to the next one, you see? And now I'm just going to use the mark point where I want my next chop to be. You see? And then you just repeat. Then you will truncate this by pressing delete and mark. So now it just creates a new sound. So now you can just copy that. You get the point now, right? Now, MPC 2000 XL is a bit more sophisticated when it comes to chopping, and it does actually have a slicing mode, which is great, but there is one downside to it, and it will always happen to me. So when you make your slices and then you want to make a new program to automatically get them onto the pads, it will always overwrite the first program that you made. You might think it doesn't matter if you get the sample first and chop it and then do the rest. But if, for example, later on you add a drum break that you want to chop and slice, then you have to go and manually assign every slice to new program and pad. Otherwise it will overwrite your samples that you sliced before. I always forget that and mess everything up. Then I realized why some beat makers, for example Kev Brown, would sample differently on the MPC, and I started doing the same thing. It's quite simple and speeds things up. You just sample every chop straight from the vinyl and assign them to the pads you want right away when you decide to keep it. My MPC is disconnected from the chain at the moment, but I used exactly the same workflow on my SP this time while making this beat. And now I will show you exactly how I made it from sampling a record to me playing it on Instagram. So I got this record and I knew it's gonna be good because it has Topless Woman on the cover. And I found the gold on the very first tune on it. I guess that's the dude. Alright, as I said, this time I just recorded every chop to separate pads straight from the vinyl. I also slowed down the pitch on my Numark PT01 over here. Because it was quite fast, and SP404 doesn't really have the feature of slowing down the sample by just tuning it down like MPC and other samplers do. You can still do it on the SP by time stretching and tuning, but it can really mess the sample up in a bad way. Here are the chops I have. And then the best one.
Where were you late last night? I passed your house, I saw no light.
And anyway, we need to listen to it with the vinyl sim.
Where were you late last night? I passed your house, I saw no light. Where were you late last night? I passed your house, I saw no light.
Of course, I use the vinyl sim on the master recording. I'm going to be switching on and off because if you don't have anything playing through, you know, it's a compressor, so every noise that is in the cables or around, you know, noise electronics will pick up. So as you can hear, there's a lot of hum. That's why I will switch it off and just switch it on when I do some stuff. So after I got my chops, I went and sampled a few drum hits. I also already had some percussion sounds on my SD card. I actually recorded them with my Zoom, mostly hitting random things here and there. From now, again, I switch my process a bit. Usually I go to the pattern sequencer, sequence my chops, then add the drums, maybe make a few different pattern variations, then record it onto my other SP, because there is no way to resample the patterns onto the pads. This time instead, I made a one long 12-bar sequence, programmed the drums first, and played the chops live over the drums while recording it. Let me show you what I mean. I will start this pattern with drums now, let it play for a bar or two so you can hear them, and then join in with the chops. Also, I will switch on the vinyl sim for the compression. Alright, so here's the pattern.
Last night I passed your house, I saw no light. Last night I passed your house, I saw no light. Last night I passed your house, I saw no light. Last night I passed your house, I saw no light. Last night 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 I saw no light.
So that video on Instagram was just me playing over it actually, so I didn't do any knob twisting, but for example from now on, if I would like to do anything with that, I can play with it if I want. And that is it, guys. Let me know in the comments how you work on your machines and what you think about the way I did it today. Of course, I am just taking the inspiration from all the great beat makers. I'm not trying to claim that I make something special or different from everyone else, or that I came up with it. I'm just trying to share the whole process, and maybe if you are new to it or you're just trying to get into it, this will help, hopefully. If you like the content, please subscribe and give me a like. Also follow me on Instagram, I post beats like that all the time. Also check the links in the description for all my beat tapes and all my music and all that kind of stuff. I'm out.
Last night I passed your house, I saw no light.